Are you feeling abandoned and you don't know why you feel abandoned? How long have you felt abandoned for? Has that and does that stem back to your childhood? How much of your inner child, your younger self, still feels abandoned from back then that has not been healed nor acknowledged from your adult self? Hey, I'm Caterina, Smillie, and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, it's great to have you. If you're returning, it's good to see you. Today is all about feeling abandoned. How many of you out there are feeling abandoned? It may sporadically, it may be on a daily basis, and not really sure why. You may have even gone to therapy and felt that would heal that, and yet still there are moments where you feel this deep sense of abandonment. Why? Where does that stem from? Why is it triggered? Or do you just go, it's just the way I feel? Today I want to offer you a perspective that you may not have looked into, and it is related back to your younger self, or as some people like to call it, your inner child. Just maybe your younger self feels abandoned from your adult self. Just maybe you have acknowledged that from when you were a child. Whatever you endured as a child, you haven't healed and worked and released that. So that inner child will always feel abandoned. Yeah? You know what's worse? Your adult self has abandoned your younger self. When the two come together, there is this deep sense of fulfillment and connection. The sense of abandonment over time dissipates. Now you might be just thinking right now, that doesn't make any sense at all. But how many of you have abandoned your younger self? How many of you have not healed what you endured? How many of you have compared your life, your childhood, to other people's, and when it's not that bad? And it's in that very moment that your younger self feels abandoned. You have abandoned your younger self. Not surprising then, in our adult life we feel abandoned, right? It is only us that can fulfill us. It has to start with us. So how much from your younger self is still feeling abandoned from when they were a child? It can be from your parents, relatives, friends. There is something that's triggering this adult sense of abandonment. Because if for some of you watching this, you may be going, I don't understand why I feel like this, because I have a great relationship, I've got children, I've got family, I've got all these people around me, yet there are moments where I feel so alone. Why does that happen then? What possibly is the explanation of why, when you've got people around you, you feel this sense of abandonment? Because what if it is your younger self waiting for your adult self to connect? He or she still feels abandoned from their childhood, and yet in your adult life you've dismissed that. You've just said, my younger self had a great life, it's good, not as bad as other people, and you've compared it. And he or she is still waiting for you to acknowledge and abandon her, and acknowledge and validate him or her. Maybe it's time to reflect back in those moments where you feel abandoned in your adult life. Reflect back in that very moment and identify the times that you felt abandoned when you were a child. And see what feelings come up when you find it. If there is an event, a situation that comes straight to your thoughts, take note, because you haven't had to think about that. That is absolutely your identifying factor, that that particular, whatever memory has raised to the surface, is what needs to be healed. There is something in that memory that makes you feel abandoned. We don't just feel abandoned for no reason. And the more we question and the more we go, you know what? I don't like this feeling. I have the ability to change it. And what am I going to do to work to shift it? Because it's horrible. It's horrible to feel that, especially in our adult life. There is always a cause. I've done a video on cause and effect. The effect is you feeling abandoned in your adult life. Now it's time to identify the cause. When we stop settling and questioning everything when we feel a particular way that does not serve us positively, and we question it and we reflect back and we go, what's the first thing that comes back from the memory bank from our childhood? Whatever situation or memory you have, there is something attached to that. There is a trigger in amongst that. It's not easy to find, and that's where maybe sourcing out an expert, whether it be a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a personal coach, a life coach, whatever and whoever resonates with you. Stop settling in life and go and be the best version of you. And that takes healing a lot in our childhood. And even though right now you might be saying, I had a great childhood, it doesn't need something so traumatic to impact us in our adult life. It can be as simple as we may have been bullied, we felt that we were left out in the family. It may even be one event. It doesn't have to be this big, long thing. Sometimes we believe, it's got to be so traumatic and that's why it's impacting. No. If you have children or you've got children around you, nieces, nephews, watch them. Watch how little things impact them emotionally, even over if they didn't get a particular toy. And as adults, we feel it's so trivial. But what impact does that have on them? What impact does it have on them if we raise our voice? And the way to identify that is go back and remember you in your childhood. What did you feel when your mum or your dad raised your voice with you? I know I didn't like it. And sometimes I would be scared. And I'm not saying that they were abusive. But as a child, we're very impressionable and everything is so new to us. We're learning. So if you're struggling with abandonment, it's time to reflect back from your childhood and identify the moments where you felt abandoned as a child, and then work to heal and release that. Get your notepad and get your pen, get the memories, whatever comes up into your thoughts, write them down. Because in that moment, you may not think there's anything in it. But when you have the time to take a breath and really reflect on it, you may find and ask yourself, how did I feel in that moment? That's the question. Don't answer from here. Answer from here. Tap back into that younger self. How did he or she feel when that situation was happening? Did they feel abandoned? I hope that I've given you something to work with, and even just a different perspective in which you hadn't have thought of, right? Or you hadn't considered. I like that word much better. This is going to give you the opportunity, and remember, whatever comes straight into your thoughts is from you've tapped back in, and that's coming back up from the surface from what you've suppressed. That's not you trying to find it by thinking it, yeah? Just write it down, jot it down. I want to thank you for your time, because I absolutely respect your time. It is valuable. If you got value out of this video, I'd be so grateful if you'd like, subscribe to my channel, and also click on the notifications bell so you'll be notified when I upload tomorrow's video. Remember, you matter. You matter. You are your most valuable asset, so invest in you every day. So for today, take care of you.